The second line has ended for the New Orleans Saints, and we all realize it's time to get back to reality. Can this team string together 2 straight wins before heading out on the road for 3 of the next 4? To do it, there's no question they will have to do something they haven't been able to do all year, and that's be decent in the red zone. How do the Saints and Patriots match up, and who will play key roles? New Orleans radio personality and friend of the show, Eric Asher, is here this morning to discuss that and whether LSU could come off the bye week strong versus South Carolina. Also, Tulane has a Thursday game against East Carolina, and Gabe and I will give you our thoughts and our best bet. Maybe we have a best bet. Maybe we don't. For Eagles-Giants on Thursday night in the NFL. Yeah, the second line is over, but there's always a party on Dattitude. Did someone say cake? Where's the party? There's cake, right? Cake. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? You still celebrating? I mean, it's only a few days. It's all good. You still celebrating, good for you. You never know when the next one is coming. We will celebrate with you on Dattitude, episode number 425, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025. If you are new here, then I am your always optimistic host, Jim Derry, 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene, and sometimes I exaggerate. Anyway, thank you for being a part of the Dat family. We have fun here. If you're new, what took you so long? Glad you finally found us. What is most special about our show? Well, the regulars know the answer to that because we do something that most shows, in fact, almost every show, I don't know, find shows that do spend all this time reading comments. You talk to us, we talk back to you. That's half of what this show is, more than half sometimes. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. If you're watching after the fact and you can't join us live and you can't type in your question, but you want to ask something, well, you can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. And if you want to email me at jderrytheadvocate.com. We're also on all the major podcast platforms. And if you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. You see it there. Give us a like, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it. What is on the show this morning? You can see it on the screen. I alluded to it earlier. Eric Asher. I didn't realize it's been a couple months since he's been on the show. If you don't know this, I am on his show, Inside New Orleans, every Monday afternoon at 4:35 Central Time. We talk for about 20 minutes. Sometimes we get fired up. We have a good time. And about once every month, every 4 to maybe not quite every month, but once every 4 to 6 weeks, I'm on a television show, also Inside New Orleans, which you can find if you don't live in the New Orleans area. You can find it on the WLAE TV YouTube page. It's always posted there. I was on, I think, 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so Eric will be on. We always have spirited discussion. And nobody knows what's going on around here and has as much of an opinion as I do, maybe, than Eric. So we'll have fun with that coming up. Eric's going to be on about 11:20. Still got 16 minutes. Of course, we're going to get to your comments in just a moment. We hope today is not the final day of the baseball season for the Chicago Cubs, or at least I do. Great comeback for the Yankees last night. And by the way, the Cubs, you got to tip your cap to the Brewers as much as I can't stand them, man. I'm just going to be straight up honest. Y'all know that's what I am usually. There might not be a franchise in sports, and this fluctuates from time to time, but I really don't know if there's a franchise in sports that I dislike more than the Milwaukee Brewers. It started with the whole Bud Selig thing and how I still think Bud Selig helped ruin baseball to some extent. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, so I hold grudges against the Milwaukee Brewers. I don't like them, never did, and I really don't like them right now. And I thought, when the Cubs scored those 3 runs in the first inning. All right, not going to be the same this time. Yeah, it was the same. Saints. The Cubs couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag after the 3-run homer. So we'll see what happens this afternoon at home. I think they play at 4 o'clock. We'll see. Again, great comeback for the Yankees last night. They looked dead to rights, down 6-1. Aaron Judge with a bomb ski off the foul pole. And by the way, Zach Ewing is having a good time, much to the dismay of Gabe Henderson. Zach Ewing is having a good time in Detroit. Yes, Zach is in Detroit watching his Mariners play the Tigers. He will be there. I think game 4 is this evening. I think they play game 4 today. Gabe shaking his head. Yes, they do. Okay. And that's it for baseball today. That is our baseball talk. I may allude to it later. We'll see. At the very end, we'll find out. What about in the football world? Not related to the Saints, LSU, and the Tigers. How about Joe Flacco to the Bengals? Did y'all see this? If you didn't, it's easy to miss. It's Joe Flacco, and it's the Browns, and it's the Bengals. I mean, good for them. Had a regular reach out to me and say, you think that was, I mean, what are they thinking? They're trading a 5th-round pick for Joe Flacco. Well, they also got a 6th-rounder. Y'all know what I think about late-round picks. I think they're all but worthless. Okay? I mean, yeah, you get them right sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, they're a 5th-rounder starting. Look at the Saints. Spencer Rattler starting right now. For how long, we don't know, but he's starting right now. There are other 5th-round starters all over the NFL. I get it. But it's not like you gave a 5th-rounder. I mean, it was clear that the Bengals, if they want to have any chance they have a chance to be okay. I mean, can Joe Flacco, the big question is, can he hold up behind a horrendous offensive line? I mean, it's probably only a matter of time before he gets hurt too. I mean, what is he, 58 years old? So anyway, I thought it was a good trade for the Bengals. They give up a 5th-round pick. They get Joe Flacco and a 6th-round pick. So they gave up basically nothing. Good trade for the Bengals. Assuming that Flacco plays more than 1 or 2 games and doesn't get killed. We'll see. I would doubt he would start this week, but we'll see. Lastly, on the NFL, before I get to the comments this morning, here's, and maybe Gabe and I will talk about this later. I did not bring it up when we were in pre-production just now, or pre-show, whatever you want to call it. Did you see Jonathan Gannon? What happened there? Head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. He's fined $100,000 for yelling at his running back, Amari DeMarcado. I think that's how you pronounce it. Are you insane? What is wrong with people? He yelled at who gives a shit? I'd yell at my running back too. He said he pushed him. Who cares? Who cares? It's football. Who cares? Good. Where have we come, people? And then he apologized. The dude, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you didn't see what happened, the running back went to celebrate. First of all, I think he crossed the goal line, but that's a whole different story. I think he got to the goal line. The fact that it was reviewed and whatever, that's a different story. But another instance of a player celebrating before he gets to the goal line, and he screws his team, and it ends up coming back to cost them the game. How would you feel if Kendra Miller did that? I mean, first of all, Kellen Moore doesn't have the personality. He would never yell. He'd probably just say, okay, we'll get him next time. That's probably what would happen. But I mean, a fiery coach getting pissed off, and he grabbed whatever he did. Who cares? Unless he punched him in the face, which he didn't do. We are living in a completely, and again, these kind of discussions I know often lead to different things. So I don't want to go too far in the weeds with this. But that's where we are today. I'm not saying it's got to be 1972 and, coaches grab guys by their face mask and throw them down and whatever and whatever. But a guy gets mad because in the end, a moment of stupidity cost his team a game. Give me a break. Maybe we'll talk about that. There you go. There's something we can talk about later on. I got a feeling it's going to come up now because I could see Gabe is completely disagreeing with me. But Gabe is 27 and lives in the world of, we don't do stuff like that anymore. I get it. That's the world he's grown up with, and it's the only one he knows. I'm old school, and there's probably a middle ground somewhere. But you don't get fine a guy $100,000 for getting pissed off for something he should be pissed off about, and then the coach apologized. Did you see Sean Payton apologize? Because Sean Payton absolutely is capable of such a reaction. Did you see Sean? I could see Sean Payton getting fined because that's the world we live in today. Did you see Sean Payton apologizing? No. Anyway, you don't know what I'm talking about. Go find it. It's worth checking out. I think it's ridiculous. I think a lot of things are ridiculous, obviously. Maybe you'll have comments on it. Maybe we'll talk about it later in the show. We're going to get to Saints again. Eric coming on in about 9 or 10 minutes, and I got it. Plenty of comments to get to. I see in the queue. Before we get to those comments and the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, if it's someone you know, someone you love, someone you say, you know what, they need my help. I'm going to have them reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. Well, good for you, because they will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? No, not the rest of your life. Not yet. You're jumping the gun. We'll fill you in more later in the show, and then we'll get to the rest of your life. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Who is here this morning? On at the top. UBN's first. Is it a letdown season after a big win for New England? Their next 3 games are Saints, Titans, Browns. Not quite the gauntlet. You know, I will say this about the Patriots. I know I predicted under for them. Gabe, you had over on that? Is that one of the ones we disagreed on? Yeah. Looks like Gabe's going to be right on that one. It's still early, but when you got that coming up, I can't see him not at least going 2-1, probably 3-0, but we'll see. We'll see. What else we got? Chad Gage is here. Good morning. Oh, it happens. Charles Mangus, good morning. It's hump day. It is hump day. Rob, good morning. Nathan Thomas, good morning. Why are we not talking about Jonas Sanker more? He's playing really well. Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about him this afternoon. Although we're going to focus a lot on the red zone, so Sanker's probably not going to come up all that much, but he will come up on Friday. Nathan, I promise you. When Zach is here, Zach Ewing will be back in New Orleans, and we will be talking about the preview. Saints and Patriots on Sunday in the Dome. We will be talking about that. So I'll make sure. In fact, if you're here Friday and I don't remember, please remind me, because I'm old and a lot of things I don't remember. Big Valley's here. Let's talk about how this offense only scored 1 touchdown. Giants lost this game more than the Saints won it. You know what? I know you and I don't always agree, but I can't take too much away from the offense. They still did have the big play. That was a big deal. But we're going to get in a whole – I got red zone stats out the wazoo. Gabe Henderson. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about save your comments. Save your comments, Gabe. Let's see what else. Daryl Hayden. Good morning. Did anyone else see the 3-4 headshots Monday night? 3 to 4 headshots Monday night that weren't called. I didn't see anything that was unusual. I mean, I could have missed it because I was watching the Cubs and Monday Night Football at the same time. So we'll see. Who dat daddy? Good morning. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Kyle Sherman, good morning. From Audubon Park Golf Course. Glad to hear you're in New Orleans. Lots of grunge time this week on you're visiting with David Grunfeld, our resident photographer. Well, tell him I said hello. And tell him I didn't forget about the lunch that I said we're going to schedule. Hello, grunge. Phil Mariandi, good morning from Texas. Brian Cavett, time to get real about what we really saw on Sunday. 88-yard rushing ain't going to cut it. That's true. Can't depend on 5 turnovers a game. Why not? Why not? Why can't you depend on Sure you can. No, I'm just kidding. Of course. Then 87-yard bomb. Look, come on, guys. Look, here's the thing. I'm going to say somewhat what I said Monday. It's not the same. Obviously, we're moving on. We're looking ahead. And I was joking, obviously, about always optimistic. Y'all know that's not true. But why are we finding so much negative? This team is what it is. It's a rebuilding team. Come on, man. It's a rebuilding team. Okay? You should be happy. You had an 87-yard bomb. You had a fun play. You finally had the bomb. The rat put it right there. It was great. Come on, man. Jeez. Y'all are worse than maybe because, I don't know, maybe I've conditioned y'all to think like that. I don't know. Maybe it's my fault. Someone said that last Monday, by the way, that it's my fault because that's the way that I think. Sometimes it is the way I think, but also you can have fun with it. Just have fun with a win. It's not out of the question that they win this week. I mean, they could. They're only 3.5-point dogs. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Again, Eric coming on in about 3 or 4 minutes. Yes, Rocky, it is hump day. KD Brown, over under 35.5. Eric does say again a lot, but we all have our own thing. We all have something that we all say a lot. I'm going to try this because you told me. I said I wasn't going to forget. Let's see if I can remember. Sandra in Chazestiki Pool. I know I screwed it up. I'm sorry. The Saints won one. Glad you're here. Yeah, I know you're joking, KD. S. Callie is here. Good morning. Rich Marciano. The thing is, Joe Flacco is prone to throwing picks just like Browning. Why he was benched? That's not why he was benched. Come on, Rich. The reason why he was benched is because they want to in Chowstigi. Gabe's got it. He remembers. That's why you have someone young to help you. That's it. You have someone young that actually has a real memory. But Rich, Flacco was benched because Dylan Gabriel is potentially the future. It's the same reason why the Rat's going to get benched eventually. I'm not trying to be, or there he goes again. I'm just saying realistically, Joe Flacco got benched because he's not the future of the Browns and they're going nowhere. And they started Dylan Gabriel. And at some point this season, Shedeur Sanders will get multiple starts. It is what it is. That's why he got benched. And the Bengals, Joe Flacco's better than Browning. Come on, man. Phil says Saints offense is not going to win any games unless the offense becomes more consistent. Need a real passing threat. They got one. I don't care. What are you talking about? You talking about passing threat at quarterback, or are you talking about passing threat at receiver? If you're talking about quarterback, well, we're gonna beat a dead horse. They don't have the future of quarterback on this roster right now. We know that. It's nowhere to be found. Now we're gonna get another quarterback that can play at some point. Earl's Picks, who dat? Welcome. What else we got? KD says we'll get to this. The fine was ridiculous, but hitting a player in the heat of the game could have gone wrong for Gannon. He's lucky it wasn't a player that's a hothead. Come on, man. Big Belly says football players hit each other all the time. Who cares? True. What else? Who dat daddy says he's with me. He's had his helmet yanked off by the face mask. Yeah. This isn't 1974. Come on, man. Gary, we're going to definitely talk about this morning. Again, Eric, come on in just a minute. Good morning, all. Hopefully they can find the answers to the red zone issues. Maybe Taysom being back will give them more options. There's a reason why I put him on the title slide. Do I think so? If you listen to what I said Monday, I kind of ticked some people off. Not everybody. I always tick people off. There were people who did, you don't say negative things about Taysom Hill. Because I made a comment Monday, not apparently, I remember saying it, that yippee, he completed one pass. He rushed 6 times for -1 yard. And he completed a big pass for 19 yards in the red zone. It was a wounded duck. People did not like, You call Taysom Hill's pass a wounded duck? What is wrong with you? Don't ever say anything about the God known as Saint Taysom. You never do that. You'll just get blasted. Okay. Anyway. What else we got? Hakeem, good morning, big dog. You got to keep May in the pocket this week and bracket Diggs. Keep the run game. Is Diggs going to be as motivated this week? I doubt it, seriously. Diggs plays when he wants to play. And he wanted to beat them Bills. I don't think he's going to care as much this week. Rattler's got to be more effective in play action downfield throws. Agreed. We got to get to Eric in just a second. Maybe a few more. Nick, UBN says trivia. Last quarterback the Saints drafted to win a game for the Saints. That's easy. Helmet backwards. 1998, I think. Danny Werfel. That's easy. You got to ask me a tough question. Larry Bro, who dat? Happy win week. That's right. You don't know how many you get. Michael Elliott, give them time. Well, that's all we can do. See, it wasn't Chowstige. You were right, Gabe. SJG8 Saints fan wants to know what I think of the Michael Davis signing. He has a lot of experience. I know Yadam has heard. Michael Davis, defensive back, signed by the Saints. Has a history with Brandon Staley. That's why he was brought on. Anyway, not much, honestly. Depth. All right. Some of these questions we will ask of today's guest. New Orleans radio icon, whatever word you want to use, personality, friend of the show here at Dattitude, Eric Asher of Inside New Orleans, every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 on the Ticket 106.7. And here he is this morning, spending a Wednesday with us. Eric, how are you, my friend?
Jim, I'm doing well. Did you really take a shot at St. Taysom?
Oh, my God. If you say anything sort of negative about, I mean, they come out and you could say whatever you want about, Cesar Ruiz or Eric McCoy, or even you can hate on Chris Olave all you want, even talk about Shaheed or whatever, but you can't say anything bad about St. Taysom. They will beat you down.
Well, he may be the panacea that helps this red zone offense. At least we can hope.
He's a 35-year-old coming off of major reconstructive knee surgery who is not a future part of this team. And I'm not exactly sure, other than the fact that you're being loyal and letting him play, and because he busts his ass to come back. I get that. But why is he even going to potentially be a part of this team? They're 1-4. They're going to, all right, here's the Derry down apart. I've been so positive for a day and a half, and right off the bat, here I go.
As soon as I walk in the door, here we go.
Look, we're going to talk about the red zone issues for this team because I know it's a big thorn in your side as well. But, other than maybe helping in the red zone, I'm not sure what else Taysom can do to help this team.
Well, again, first of all, the defense changes when he's on the field. Okay, they have to account for him. So again, the way they're playing New Orleans, again, obviously Moore will have an opportunity to be able to play off of him, even if he's not effective right now. And again, look, I'm surprised they played last week. That's unheard of to be able to come back from the public that quickly and to be on the field. Usually you get about a 2-week ramp up before you put them on the field. So that was surprising that him and Foster were on the field this week. But and look, he was not effective, but it was good to see him back on the field. With that said, look, again, we know that, again, there's film on him, obviously under Peyton and Allen, but there's really no real film on him with Moore. I'm just interested to see how he's going to utilize him this season. Look, is he going to be with New Orleans next season? Probably not. But right now, they're still trying to win games, okay? So they're going to pull anything out of their hat they can, and Taysom can be an asset if healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but the part that I have a problem with is I just don't see how he's going to be healthy enough to play. Again, that pass that he threw, I could have thrown that. I'm not exaggerating. I could have thrown that. It was a wounded duck that kind of Jawan Johnson had to come back for and then dive backwards for. If it was a good pass, it might even have been a touchdown. And then again, he did nothing effective in the run game at all. 6 carries for -1 yard. Linda Johnson said Taysom should be a QB1. You see those pie in the skies. I love you, Linda, but when you're talking about pie in the sky dreams for St. Taysom. It's a little much there. You know?
Well, I mean, again, I said this yesterday on the radio show. I'm saying maybe they fooled us a little bit because, you and I have talked about not having a veteran presence in that locker room, in that quarterback room. And yet, again, now we find out that he's been in that quarterback room since training camp.
Yeah.
So, again, maybe he's the veteran in the room. I think we're going to see him at quarterback. I do. I think we're going to, not just in QB power, but I think that Moore is going to be very creative with him and utilize his skill set. Now, how quickly can he come back from the injury? How effective can he be? We'll find out over the next few weeks.
I did find it interesting that they actually listed him as QB2. I didn't look. Was do you know, was Shuck inactive this past week?
I don't think he wasn't inactive.
Okay, so but they listed Taysom Hill as the QB two, and I was not in the Dome this week. I had some things going on at home, so I did not go to the Dome. I will be there this week, so I definitely will be looking at that to see how that goes. UBN wants to know: are you live from the back alley in the quarter?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
I just got finished drinking.
I mean, you got plenty of sponsors from the quarter. Yeah. You might as well.
Yeah, the Oceana Family of Restaurants. Make sure you guys
exactly
check them out.
Free plug here on the Dattitude podcast. Why not?
I'm stealing everyone I can get.
Who That Daddy says hello.
Who That Daddy?
We're gonna get into this. So this is a good segue. Ryan Ashe says red zone issues are more than just Rattler. We have small receivers, and Juwan struggled to catch contested balls. All right, that leads me into where I wanted to go this morning. Can they fix their red zone woes? Is the title of this Saints preview day, and a story by Matthew Paris that it was either this morning or yesterday. I'm not sure. Yeah. The Saints are 7 of 17 in the red zone, which is 41.2%. Only 3 teams are worse in the red zone than the New Orleans Saints. They are the Los Angeles Chargers, which actually pretty good, and they got a good quarterback, so that's actually kind of surprising to me. But the other two are not surprising. They are the Las Vegas Raiders at 35.7%, and the team the Saints played on Sunday, the New York Giants, at 31.6%. Now, the Saints are 4th worst in the NFL in the red zone, but this is despite the fact that they have 14 drives of 10 plays or more. Now, so I don't know that I guess I agree, and going back to Ryan's comment, they're more than just Rattler. Well, they are more than just Rattler, and look, again, don't take this the wrong way, Rattler lovers. I don't mean it to be this way, but it's a lot on Spencer Rattler. He has not been good throwing the football in the red zone.
Oh, he's been inaccurate. Again, I think there's a lot on Spencer Rattler. Now, again, I do agree with your listener that, again, there's been issues with Juwan Johnson holding on to footballs. Again, he's been a 50-50 guy in terms of catches this season. The smallest receivers don't help, especially in the red zone. They went out and got Vele. He's been hurt. Again, is that big receiver that they need. So again, I think that all contributes. But again, there have been guys that have been open, and he has not been able to complete the passes because of inaccuracy. Again, especially on the move. Okay, again, he's just not an accurate quarterback on the move.
And to back that up, Eric,
on the move was pretty good. But again, overall, on the move, he's not an accurate quarterback.
To back up what you just said is the Rats' completion percentage, although it's up from last year so far, it was 57% last year. This year it's 67% as of right now. But his red zone completion rate is 48%, and it's 28th of 33 quarterbacks who qualify in the NFL. So 28th out of 33, that ain't good. 48% in the red zone, which means you're almost 20% worse in the red zone. That's not going to cut it.
Well, and that's why, again, if Taysom is healthy, then you have the ability to put him in as a quarterback. You could put him in again as a running back. You can still utilize a Miller, who looks like he's got some physicality that then maybe you can utilize in the red zone, especially if you're close. And look, Alvin Kamara has been a touchdown machine during his career if you give him an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got a couple of things here that are interesting. And SJG8 Saints fan Vele is the red zone answer. You talk about him being not healthy and missing a couple of games. We did catch a touchdown pass in one of the first 2 games. I think it was the San Francisco game. And then he played a role last week. He came back, and I thought, he obviously showed that he is the big guy that they are going to look to at different points. Now, he needs to be more involved, in my opinion.
Well, he has to, because again, they've been relying on Johnson, and he's been 50-50 in terms of him being able to catch the football. So again, that has been an issue going into training camp with these smallest receivers trying to run those guys over the middle, and that's not what they do. I mean, they should be utilized again to really stress the defense, and ultimately, again, there's been just a few plays where they've been successful doing that this season. Well, one being again the 87-yarder to Shaheed this week.
Jim Derry here with Eric Asher on the Dattitude podcast this Wednesday morning, presented by Evangeline Securities. You can catch Eric every Monday through Friday on the air. The Ticket, 106.7. If you don't live in the New Orleans area, you can find it online. You can also find the show after the fact on all the major podcast platforms, I believe, right?
You know, Jim, I would add that the offensive line is also an issue there, right? Okay, now
no question.
They played much better last week. The guard position is still a real question mark for this team. Even though Simpkins has come in and he's been kind of hot and cold. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
You know, look, honestly, as an undrafted free agent,
exactly.
Let me tell you something right now. He's a find.
He's already better than Ruiz.
Right. Better than that turnstile, there's no doubt. Okay. And then on the flip side, even down the line, if he's not a starter for you, again, he's a guy that you can utilize as a swing guy on the interior of the line between guard and center. So, Again, he's been a find for this team. But, again, the offensive line is also an issue. You know, Rattler doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket. That's one of the reasons why he's inaccurate. He's been able to use his legs to really, again, mask some of the deficiencies on the offensive line. But, again, I talked about yesterday, I was encouraged by what I saw against the Giants. That's a pretty good defensive line in terms of rushing the passer. Not so much against the run, but in terms of rushing the passer, and they did fairly well. You know, they kept him clean. One quarterback hit and no sacks on Sunday.
Right, and I agree with you. They completely have to be. They have to get it a little bit better. I mean, I think they've been okay. And at PFF, we talk about that sometimes and where they rank, and they have not been able to get above like 25, and who knows, maybe since Drew Brees was here, I don't know, maybe not that long, but they're at 27th right now, ranking above. And the only two players that are better than bad, I guess the way that are not in red, have been Kelvin Banks and Eric McCoy. And Banks is at a 60.5, which is 42nd out of 71 tackles. McCoy is ranked 9th out of 35 centers, and the other guys have been pretty bad. Penning's been just okay, but he just came back. Right. Simpkins is one of the worst guards, but again, he just kind of got in there. He's undrafted free agent. Fuaga's definitely not been as good as he's been so far. Ranks 43rd out of 71 tackles.
You can see it's the injury. Again, he's not the same player right now. And again, again, I'm hoping that what they talked about earlier in the season with the injury is something he's might have to deal with for his whole career. Let's hope not. Let's hope there's a situation where he's got to deal with this season. It can be surgically repaired, and he's back to being Fuaga. But last week, against two pretty good pass rushers, those tackles played well.
Yeah, I thought they did too, and that's why I was kind of surprised. I didn't know what the rankings are when I just looked them up. They actually went down from the week before. They were 26th the week before, went to 27th. So look. We talk about them just as a talking point sometimes, but I have not talked as much about the PFF rankings because sometimes I look at them and I think they're just kind of silly.
They get a little skewed at times.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I don't know how they're judging that. But anyway, Brian wants to know, he says, aren't I the same guy who said Taysom, I doubt Taysom can come back and even play this season? Absolutely. And just because he came back doesn't mean that he's going to. Look, if you come back and play, there's no difference between coming back and being ineffective than not playing. So I'm just going to put that out there. I think they're putting him out there because they're being loyal to him. He busted his ass to get back out there. Great. But if you're ineffective, and you talked about you were surprised he played this week, well, that's great that he played. But if you're worthless, sorry, don't hate on me. Don't hate on me, you Saint Taysom lovers. But he was worthless this week. And so will that change? It could. Again, you're right. It could change. And get him out there and it's a 1-4 team. But look, let somebody else have that spot if you're going to have a guy that's ineffective. Give him a few weeks, sure. But, I mean, and Foster Moreau didn't do anything. So, I mean, what are you just getting these guys out there to get him out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, but he did block. I mean, again, he didn't did he catch any passes, but he was. And look, that's been his forte with the Saints, right? He's kind of been that blocking tight end. He was kind of forced into catching the football last year, but he's been, it's been, again, Johnson's been really the receiving tight end for them. I'd say pump the brakes a bit. These guys just got off a pup. Let's see how they look in 2 or 3 weeks from now. Now, if Taysom is ineffective in another 2 weeks, well, then you say, okay, maybe again he tried to come back, and it's 35 years old, and you're trying to get over this knee surgery, and it's just not working for you. But
that's
again,
kind of my point, though. Why rush him out there? Why rush him out there? I don't disagree with anything you just said.
Right.
Why rush him out there, though? Why not let him practice for a couple weeks and then get him out there? There was no reason to put him out there this week.
I don't disagree. I was shocked. I said on the radio show last week that again they're all coming off the pup list. Don't expect them this week. Maybe in the next couple of weeks that again they'll come back. They'll be able to play in a game. And when they were active on Sunday, I'm like, whoa. I mean, I've never heard of that. Okay, guys coming off the pup list that quickly and being put in the game. But again, I would like to say the trainers know what's going on, the doctors know what's going on, but we know the history of again, trainers and doctors with the Saints and Pelicans. So it is.
We're going to do a show on that. I keep saying I'm going to do a show on that, and I don't. Hakeem says our guards are awful. They're actually making McCoy play bad now. They're rubbing off on Eric McCoy. Banks and Fuaga have been solid in the perimeter. They've been okay. And then SJG8 wants to know, should Vele start over Brandon Cooks? I would say no. I think use Vele in situational spots, right?
Again, I think that's the way. That was the plan all along. I mean, Cooks has been, for the most part, I think he's been pretty good in terms of again catching the football. He's been a willing blocker.
Yeah.
Against something he wasn't when he was here the first time around, right?
Yep.
So I've got no issue with Brandon Cooks. I was a little iffy on when they signed him, again, but again, so far, again, I have no issue with it. I do agree with Akeem with his comments about the guards. You can see that McCoy is trying to help out both. There's no doubt about it. Okay, again, he's kind of split. Who do I help out?
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, Penning gets better, okay, where again, maybe the help is going towards Simpkins, but only time's going to tell on that. We still don't know if Penning can play the guard position yet.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go to prove that he's worth another shot after this year. I got to think that Pennings is on his last.
Well, they may get him on the cheap.
I mean, you're not going to get him on the expensive because nobody's going to pay for him.
Again, switching positions now. Look. He's got everything you want in an NFL guard. Okay, the physicality, size. His athletic ability to get out on sweeps. If he can play the position, again, that obviously it saves his career, but that really helps the Saints going forward as well.
Yeah. Christopher Crump says, "Who dat baby for life? What's the deal with Chase Young? Why the hell is he not back on the field?" I added the hell, by the way.
Don't get me started. Okay. Again, last year he was paid by game. Last year he was paid by game. And again, he played through injury. He played through nicks, whatever. I know that Coach Moore is, taking up for his players here, but give me a break. It was a calf strain, on September the 6th. Okay, September the 6th. Okay, we're now October the 8th. He still hasn't hit the field yet. A strain.
Yeah, well, maybe he'll get out there and play, I don't know, by week 12 when they're like 3-8 and whatever.
That's been his MO in his career.
I'm sick of this last year. Really. And look, I get why they signed him to the contract. I can't say I hated it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was kind of like, okay. But that's kind of a long deal to get to somebody who hasn't proved that he can. I mean, last year I know he was okay, but I mean, is okay really worth $13 million a year? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
They saw flashes of brilliance last year and thought, okay, he's turned the corner as a pro. Yeah. And maybe when he gets on the field, again, maybe he's gonna prove everybody, say, look, all I needed was the opportunity to get healthy. But the problem with him is he doesn't stay on the field.
Yeah. No, that's true, and it is a major problem. By the way, all my even my regulars, the ones who always have my back, Eric, they're even turning on me in the Taysom. Boy, they're getting pissed off. You cannot say anything semi-negative about Saint Taysom. I get it. He's going to be in the Saints Hall of Fame. Sorry, smoke. This is actually one of the nicest things. Taysom wanted to play. Well, I wanted to be on a rocket ship, but I'm too fat and too dumb. They wouldn't let me. So who cares if he wanted to play? They still owe him $6 million. Who cares what they owe him? I mean,
if you got the money, anybody can go on a rocket ship these days.
He's shaking rust. Well, shake rust on the practice field. Don't shake rust in the game. You're taking a spot of something we need right now. I know. Anyway, they're just gonna, Hakeem, by the way, is happy with you for giving him some love. All right, look. I want to talk a little bit about. I'm going to move on. Y'all can keep commenting about Taysom all you want. We're moving on from Taysom because I actually want to talk about how these Saints, as we get into the preview now of matching up against the New England Patriots, and I like to do this every week. And now these rankings matter. Okay, I said week 5 is the first week that they really matter. You get you through the first quarter, and to me now, they make you can look at them and use them.
Decent sample size now. No
Absolutely. Doubt. So Saints-Patriots, and when you look, and there's really no number that jumps out at me except the Saints rushing offense. They were playing a team that was terrible in rushing defense last week, Eric, and they were only able to rush for 80 yards. Okay. So their ranking dropped from 10th to 14th. Now you're playing against a defensive line, Eric, that is really, really good against the run. One thing that Mike Vrabel does well, and his teams stop the run. So the Saints are going to have their hands full finding a way to run the ball, which means that's going to put a lot of pressure on Spencer Rattler.
It will, but we'll find out a lot about the offensive line this week, okay, and their ability to be able to get the run game going. As far as that goes, I tell you what, I do like the 1-2 punch of Kamara and Miller. It really looks like it's worked out. Now it's going to come down to, again, the offensive line being able to open up running lanes for these guys. Rattler's done well in terms of, again, utilizing his legs to be able to help in the running game. Again,
he's going to have to this week.
And no, there's no doubt about it. Okay, and he's going to have to do it every week. Okay, because again, again, it's been documented right on this program. Again, the problems they're having with the guards up the middle right now. So again, he's going to have to. And look, he's been patient at times. Again, inaccurate at times. Again, I do like what he's been able to do with his feet, but we'll find out a lot more about this team this week in terms of, again, their ability to run the football against a quality defense. But again, I do like the way the backs are running right now. And look, maybe, just maybe, so you got 2 physical guards now, okay? Again, in Simpkins and Penning. Maybe they can run block at a higher level than they're doing in terms of pass blocking, because that's where they're struggling. And
if you're thinking about if you're one of those fans who are inclined to do single game parlays, I would encourage you. I'm not telling you to do it. If you want to bet it, don't. Mm-hmm. But I like to throw these things out there. I think Spencer Rattler, whatever is over rushing yardage, because of what you just said, even though the Patriots are good against the run, I do like Rattler's over rushing yards because I do think he's going to be running a lot more. And because, as we said, the Saints offense, passing wise, his yardage, they're only 25th in the NFL. Now they're playing a defense that has not been as great defensively, but you got to remember they played some tougher teams, and they just played Josh Allen last week, so that'll hurt your defensive numbers as well. But I think Spencer Rattler, he's going to have to throw for more. Look, you can't just throw for 200 yards a game, which, I mean, it's a little bit more than that, and you throw out the 88-yard pass last week, and it was like at 150 or whatever. He's got to throw consistently in the area of 230 to 250, and not just with the long pass.
Well, I mean, again, part of the problem is it's been dink and dunk, right?
Right.
I mean, that's been
exactly
the issue with the offense. So they've got, at some point, they've got to open it up. They got to get to the second and third levels. They're not doing it consistently. Part of the reason, in my opinion, is you got smaller receivers that you're trying to run over the middle, and again, it's just difficult. You got a tight end that's not catching the ball consistently. That's an issue as well. But again, maybe what happened last week with the ability to finally take the top off the defense, teams will start respecting that more. And look, if you're Kellen Moore, you got to attack that. Okay, you got to make teams stop you with your speed.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. So, I mean, they're going to have to figure that out, and they're going to have to do it quickly. I'm looking at some rushing yardage stats here. Again, you're talking about teams that the Patriots play. Two of the quarterbacks in the top five. The top 2 actually are from the AFC East, Buffalo and the Jets. You look at, I'm trying to find where Drake May is. He's 12th. He's right behind Spencer Rattler, who's 10th. So Spencer Rattler has 123 yards rushing so far this season. Drake May, 110 yards. And so going vice versa with the running quarterback, Drake May, we know can move around a little bit as well. The Saints defensively against the pass have been pretty good. They're 9th. They're gonna have to be good here as well.
Well, and again, like anything, look, today's quarterbacks are mobile. So you're going to have to be able to contain the quarterback. There's no doubt about it. And one thing May's been able to do is, again, make time with his feet, which is why he's been successful this season. But again, I do like the way this defense is playing right now, okay? I'm really surprised by the youth in the secondary, how well they have adjusted. And again, the lack of communication breakdowns, again, which we've seen over and over again with these young players. Riley's played pretty well. Sanka's been really, again, a find for this
team.
Been
great. And someone mentioned him earlier. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, just really has. And even Burgess, you saw what he did last week. Again, that was a huge play on that flea flicker, which, again, that should have been a touchdown. And to be able to make that play. So, again, look, the linebackers right now, Warner to me has not really had a good season so far. He's been really shaky. At some point, I wonder when they're going to put Stutzman in there and see what he has. But again, it really going to come down to the ability to contain May and again to be able to stop their rushing attack as well.
Yeah, you would think that Warner would kind of probably be some sort of spy at times, maybe not the entire game, but at times you think it'd be a spy. Akeem also says you got to realize that everyone's playing too high safety. There are no it's kind of, the too high safety thing, and Gabe and I were talking about this earlier in the week, that it's kind of changed. Really, football has changed, and I think there's more too high safety. The passing numbers aren't as big as they've been, so that is definitely part of it. But still, that's fine. But you still can't. He said Rattler's taking what has been given. That's fine and dandy. But when you're 25th in the league in passing offense, means you got to change something. That, again, through 5 weeks, that's including the 88-yard touchdown pass. You've got to throw. You got to take more deep shots.
Routes. The intermediate routes have to work, and then
he hasn't been accurate on them.
Right. I mean, that's the key there for this team. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that's this team going forward. Again, look, I understand the too high safety, and they're taking away the deep speed. But again, at some point, again, they have to be able to touch the defense again, not just in the middle of the field, but the edges as well. And look, Olave's been hot and cold, right? As inconsistent as Johnson has been, he's been inconsistent as well in terms of, again, catching the football. And look, he's got to get the ball more. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he is just too good. He is too good of a playmaker to not see the football more than he's seeing right now.
100%. And that, to me, that's not even on Rattler. That's on Kellen Moore. They have to design more to get the ball to Rattler. And look, again, sometimes just go for it. If you don't hit it, you don't hit it. But I think you need to try it a little bit more. You have to figure it out. So anyway, Chad says Ratt's accuracy is his biggest problem. And even though he's improved on the numbers at 57 to 67, I'm not taking it, I'm not going to take everything away from him. But when you dink and dunk, you throw super high percentage passes anyway. That's part of it. And then my biggest problem is, man, he's throwing some hospital balls. I mean, you talk about Olave. It's a miracle to me that Olave or Jawan Johnson hasn't just gotten destroyed so far.
No, but I agree with Chad. The inaccuracy is an issue, and it's been an issue. And it was an issue for him at South Carolina, and it was an issue for him at Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
So this is it. This is who he is. Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. He's definitely better than he was last year. Now it helps that his offensive line is a lot better, not a little bit better than what.
And he's a rotation quarterback as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So anyway, I like what I've seen so far. We'll see what happens. It's just a matter. Again, we don't need to get into this today, but it's just a matter of time before Shuck's at least going to get a chance, right?
They have to. I mean, again, and it's no knock against Rattler on what he's doing or what he's not doing. But when you put up the 40th overall pick for a player, that player needs to be playing now.
Absolutely.
It needs to be playing now. And especially in a situation where you're saying, okay, it's a quarterback, I get it. Again, maybe you don't want to throw him out there to the Wolves too early because you don't want to hurt his psyche, etc. But again, in today's NFL, quarterbacks are playing. They're playing younger, and they're getting on the field. And they're taking their lumps. At some point, you got to find out what you have, because again, you're probably going to be in the top 5 again next year. You're going to be in the top 5 next year in terms of the draft order. So again, you're probably going to be in the quarterback business once again. You got to find out what you have in Shuck. I think you know what you have in Rattler. He can be a solid backup for you, but you got to find out what you have in Shuck.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think he is a solid backup, and I wouldn't have said that a year ago. So that's actually quite the improvement. And Rocky asked a good question. Not what you think should happen, Eric, but when do you think the Shuck experiment is going to begin? Not when you would do it. When do you think it's going to happen?
Well, again, we've talked about it a lot, Jim, you and I, right? Again, I thought it might happen in this set, this 3-game set between, again, the Giants, New England, and Chicago. I don't think they're starting him on the road at Chicago, right? But I thought maybe New England might be the game. But again, after winning last week, they're not pulling him. Okay. Right. So again, I think the next window is probably going to be in November. Again, they've got
I got the schedule.
Atlanta at home, at Miami, at Tampa, Carolina, Jets, Tennessee, at Atlanta. I think when you look from Thanksgiving on, that probably is going to be where they're going to put him in toward the end. Because again, you're not sending him out to LA and starting him out at Los Angeles unless there's an injury. You could start him at Carolina, but again, why do you start your rookie quarterback on the road? Okay, and you're probably not starting him Tampa Bay at home. Okay,
because you want to start him against a team you think he has the best chance to win against,
right?
And if you're not going to do it at Chicago, which you're probably not, because unless Rattler just stinks up the joint, and he hasn't shown any inkling that he's going to stink up the joint, right. So Rattler's probably going to play week 7, and like you said, you're not going to start Shuck. Even if the Saints were to lose the next 2 games, you're probably not going to start him against Tampa Bay. Then you get into a spot against, I don't know, man.
Again, you got the bye week after Carolina, okay?
Yeah.
And
I've been wrong, so I thought he would have started by now. So I
would have, again, if they didn't win last week, there was a chance that it was going to be New England this week, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah. I thought this window of Giants, New England, Chicago was where they were going to put him in. Because I did.
If they lost this past week, they would have had to put Shuck out there. If he started 0-11 and they lost to the Giants, there's almost no question on that.
Well, again, look, it was the big talker last week on all of our shows. When is Shuck going in? Right? I mean, again, they were 0-4, and you had the Giants coming up. If Rattler can't beat the Giants, well, then again, at that point, you have to see what you have in Shuck. So again, I think the next window is after that bye on November 23rd against Atlanta at home.
Yeah, and you look at the schedule, and we've been talking about it in the show. The Saints are in a stretch of 3 or 4 at home, and then look, I don't care who you're playing. When you play 6 out of your final, first of all, the NFL should never, ever make a schedule where you play 6 of your final 9 games on the road. I don't care if you're good, bad, ugly, and different. It doesn't make any difference. That's just it's not fair to any team to play 6 of your final 9 games at home. They on the road. Nor should any team play 6 of 9 at home. Right. It's not fair to the rest of the division to do that. So anyway, but saying that, or 7 of the final 11 are on the road after this week. It's just crazy to think you've played half your home schedule already when this week is done.
Right. But again, that was the issue when the schedule came out. But again, let's face it, the schedule makers have done the Saints no favors for years. Okay, for years. Yeah. Okay. Well, so again, it just is the way it is. But,
just like we got off of Taysom, I'm going to get off of Rattler, but I do want to share this comment because it's kind of the way that I feel in the grand scheme of things. Mitch Bergeron says it's not only the inaccuracy of Rattler, he's telegraphing his passes, which is why our receivers are getting lit up, and they have the lowest or one of the lowest after the catch yardage average. And that's true. And you talked about it earlier. People like to bitch about Juwan Johnson, but Juwan Johnson, I think he's had a couple drops early on, but I think he's been really good the last few games. He's been as good as he can be. And so I think part of it is what our listener is saying.
I think Mitch is right. I think you look, if you go back and look at the game a second time, again, you see it. You see the telegraphing. You see the inaccuracy, and especially in the red zone. And again, when you really need those passes in those small windows to be accurate, it really has not been accurate at all.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay, let's move on a little bit before we move on. Last thing here, just briefly mention this because I just show it for fun. It doesn't matter as much when you're playing an interconference team. And the Saints-Patriots series. Again, this is more for when you're playing a a team against the NFC, and especially in your own division, but we don't shy away from showing it when they play in our conference. The last 10 games to show how few times the Saints and Patriots play. The Patriots lead the all-time series 10-6, but the last 10 games ago was 1992. The Saints have been pretty good as of late. They won 34-0 in 23. That's the game where they just stuffed Mac Jones and made him look silly. Game before that in 2021, Saints won 28-13. I think that game was in the Dome, if I remember correctly. And then the two before that were Brady games, and the one that really pisses me off, still sticks in my craw, October the 13th, 2013. That was the game the Saints should have won at Foxborough, had it won, and then Brady did what Brady does, and last-minute comeback, but I thought the coaching was terrible. The Saints made some just horrendous. Peyton just did not have a good game in that one, and the Saints should have won, didn't. Should have, would have, could have. Lost 30-27 in 2013.
Different era, different quarterbacks, different coaches.
Breeze versus Brady, just think.
Yeah, right.
And now it's Rattler
versus May.
Yeah, little bit different. But anything you take out of this series, again, you're talking about teams that don't play each other very well. But the Saints have been okay in interconference games. Again, they haven't been okay really against anybody as of late. But getting that win last week, and just overall your thoughts. Saints are 3.5-point underdogs at home against a Patriots team that's coming off of a very emotional and very tough game against beating Buffalo in Buffalo. That's a feat for anyone. The Patriots did it, and now they're coming to New Orleans.
Jim, I hate to pick the Saints for anything in any game this season. Okay, again, last week I thought they beat the Giants. Again, I thought that this 3-game window was where they could get their wins, right? And because again, these are 3 winnable games. Now, New England's a little better than maybe we thought they were going to be. Okay, but I agree with you. They're coming off an emotional win against Buffalo. I like the Saints in a close one this weekend.
The Saints win this week.
This weekend in a close one, yes.
So you wouldn't take New England in an
and I'm saying that with not a lot of confidence, but I like them in a close one this weekend.
Okay, well, the line hasn't moved hardly at all, and I'm not just even the spread, but the VIG. And if you know what the VIG is, that's how much that's the price you pay to get a line, and that hasn't changed at all either. It's a little bit tilted a little bit towards the Saints. It's closer to -3 than it is to -4. I don't see this line changing. I think it's going to stay at 3.5 all the way through.
And Jim, one of the reasons why is, again, 2 reasons. Number one, the offensive line has been playing better. Okay. Yeah. Again, the penalties are down. Okay. They're not hurting themselves as they were early in the season. Okay. And again, the defense looks like it's coming together. Okay. Especially on the back end where you've had some injuries. So hopefully, again, that trend can continue. Yeah. And then maybe again, adding a Taysom, hoping that Taysom can make some type of a difference, whether it's again as a decoy or again utilizing his skill set, and hopefully again they can come out with a win.
Well, at least you're getting this team. If there is a look, I think New England obviously much improved. Mike Vrabel makes just that much of a difference in my opinion. But you're getting him at a good time. Like I said, Stephon Diggs plays when he wants to play. He was super motivated to play at Buffalo last week. He's not going to give a rat's ass this week. I don't think he's going to be a factor at all. I could be wrong. Could have 10 catches for 120 yards, and then I'll be proven wrong again. I just think that, and again, I'll give my prediction on Friday. If you're going to have to play a team like this, again, you're getting them at the perfect time. The Patriots are still riding high, so we'll see. I will
confidence with the Saints, right? I mean, again, they're feeling confident now. They've won a game. It validates what Moore's been doing.
Correct.
So they feel much better about themselves. So, looking at all that, I would say Saints in a close game. Plus, they're playing at home. Yeah. We saw a little bit of a dome field advantage last week, once again, with the Saints at least showing up and playing a solid game from the second quarter on.
Right. They have 2 or 2.5 chances. I'm going to put it. This is one of 2 or 2.5, and I'll tell you why I say 2.5 chances for back-to-back wins this season. Again, I'm not giving my prediction, but I think they have a chance to win. I'm not going to say they don't have a chance to win, but the only other time I think they have a chance to get back-to-back wins, if you look at week 15 through 17, Carolina at home, the Jets at home, at Tennessee, they could win any or all of those games. I still think Carolina is significantly better than the Saints, not just like little slim. I think they're significantly better than the Saints. However, when you play them at home, that kind of negates that. So we'll see in weeks 15 through 17. And where this team is then, we have no idea.
Right. And I got to throw this out there, too. Atlanta right now is a toss-up. Do we even know who Atlanta is?
Oh, Atlanta's way better than the Saints.
Oh, okay. Well, again,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
But now the Saints always find a way to. They were way better than the Saints last year.
Records out when Atlanta and New Orleans play.
That's true. That's true.
Okay?
That's true. We'll see. All right. Let's see. God,
I'm trying to be optimistic here. I really am.
Mal is not optimistic. He says Gottschalk looks useless out there. I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot, but there's been a lot of passing against the Saints too, and he's more of a run stuffer. So I mean, I'm not making excuses for him. I don't disagree. He keeps talking about how Gottschalk has been a disappointment. Chad says Vrabel will have them up. See, and that's the thing. That's the one thing. You are getting at a good time, but at the same time, Mike Vrabel to me is such a good coach that I don't know that you're not going to see a huge shift. You don't think it's a letdown game? No, I mean, I don't think a team like this is going to have a letdown because of who their coach is. So, but I do agree that the Saints getting that momentum from last week is certainly going to help. Now that they believe that they can win, it's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. We'll come back to the Saints when Eric's gone. I promise. We'll come back and spend 10 or 15 minutes with the Saints, and Gabe's going to come on in a little bit as well. LSU bye week to me came at a great time. For LSU, Eric. This line is going down. I had said I thought it was a little too high. On Monday, it was 9.5. Today, it is 8.5 this morning. They are 8.5-point favorites over South Carolina. I still think that's too high. I think it'll come down to 7.5. But the bye week to me came all the injuries and the different things going on. What do you see for this LSU team? They have. I need to see that they're going to come back and play well and not just. I guess they got to win, obviously, but they've got to play well, too. I'm not saying they need to win by 14 or 17 or whatever, but they've got to play well. They've got a tough quarterback in Lenore Sellers. I just need to see what this team can do.
Well, first of all, again, I think one of the reasons why they beat South Carolina last year was because Sellers and the running back got hurt. Because Sellers was running all over them last year. That's a different defense this year. It's a champion. You can legitimately say again, if we had a decent offense right now, that's a championship style defense. You can hang your hat on that defense. So again, and look, but they still have had issues at times with mobile quarterbacks. They did a good job against Lagway. Again, Chambliss had some success against them, but again, more importantly, again, they played really well as a unit on the defensive side of the ball. The problem's on offense, and it starts with the offensive line. Okay, if you can't handle a 3-man front, in the SEC, and you can't run the ball effectively or pass the ball effectively, I don't know again how you're going to have any aspirations to get in the college football playoff. And the issue is again. This offensive line, again, has some youth to it, some inexperience to it. But now you got to question the talent of the offensive line as well. They don't have a legitimate SEC running back, in my opinion. Durham's a nice back. Berry could be a game changer for him, but he's going to need to add some strength and some size. That's not this year. And you got a quarterback. They say is not hurt. But the guy is not playing like he did last year. Now, maybe that is a byproduct of him not comfortable behind that offensive line, coming off an injury, but he's not the same player. He doesn't. No,
I agree. There's something's not right. Yeah, you've been saying it for weeks, and I agree. And Gabe's been talking about it, and just something's not right. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. And it's not, he's not even trying to go deep all that much. He does a little bit, but just more than Rattler. But he just doesn't try it enough. And again, I don't know if something more to all this. We find out more later. I don't know, but just something's not right.
Well, I mean, again, we'll go back. Jim, you and I talked about should never play against Southeastern. Okay,
agreed.
All right, sit him there. Why do you play him against? No
reason to play.
Okay, no, especially with Ole Miss coming up.
Prove
you can't be overlooking Ole Miss.
It's the ego, and to prove that y'all keep saying he's hurt, and we're going to prove to you he's not hurt. Well, I don't need you to prove to me he's not hurt. How about you just don't play him and give the dude some rest, because that's what solves supposedly. You're talking about the injury that he had. Supposedly,
Kelly said you're to rest him in the bye week. Rest him against Southeastern.
You have 2 bye weeks,
right? But here's the other thing: you got wide receivers. You got a deep wide receiver room, but they're dropping passes. Okay,
they are.
They're dropping passes. Yep. So again, the problem is on offense. And again, whether it is attention to detail or talent, again, I think we're going to find out over the next couple of weeks. Okay, because again, they came in, and rightly so. People thought they were going to be a top 5 team with that defense, with a returning quarterback,
could be
Heisman candidate, with again all the speed they have outside, and again what was forecast to be a pretty good offensive line. The offensive line is the biggest issue with this team right now.
UBN says he wishes Jaden had this defense. Can you imagine Jaden Daniels with this defense?
My gosh.
That'd have been another ring for sure.
Again, that's another guy. Massive deficiency of, again, the offensive line, okay, and the lack of a running game.
Yeah, I agree.
The biggest takeaway from Kelly's tenure as LSU's head coach, again, that has shocked me, and I said this when he came in. I said he was going to be a foundation builder, which he has been. But again, we'll never have to worry about the tight end position or the offensive line ever again. Because, again, he comes from a place where, again, he knows offensive linemen. He's recruited offensive line. He said that in his opening statements about, again, he knows offensive lines. The offensive line has never lived up to the bill. Even last year with, again, guys that went to the pros, okay, high draft picks, they still weren't able to consistently be able to block for the running game or, again, for Nussmeier. So the genesis of all the problems for LSU right now starts up front.
I think a lot of people are agreeing with you. Carla White says if LSU can take their own advice, sounds like they could improve their game. Maybe so. Ryan says their offensive issues are unfixable in season. I don't know that I agree with that. All their issues, I mean, you can't change personnel. I get that. All their issues were blatantly obvious going to the offseason. That is certainly true. And Hakeem says the LSU offensive line has been a huge disappointment, along with Nuss making freshman mistakes in year 5. Joe Sloan is a better coach than a coordinator. Brad Davis can get the talent, but can't coach him up.
Well, and again, there was I can't remember who said this on the show, but somebody said something on the radio show recently where it said, forget about recruiting now with Brad Davis, who's such a great recruiter, because now money is the recruiter. Okay, yeah. That's your recruiting tool. Okay, so you better have someone that can coach your position groups up. Okay, because money and the LSU blue blood prestige, okay, being one of the top programs in the nation in terms of football, that's going to deliver you players. You better have guys that can coach them up. And look, I was a big advocate of Brad Davis because his ability to be able to recruit. But again, these guys have not improved under his tutelage.
Agree 100%. Moving on, before we let you go, I talk a little bit about Tulane playing a Thursday night game after their bye week. Both Tulane and East Carolina had a bye week last week. This line has also changed. It's moved again against the toward the opponent. Tulane was a 7-point favorite in Monday's show. This morning, they are a 6.5-point favorite again at home, getting East Carolina, where the Wave has won 5 of the past 6 in this series. And not only that, Eric, the Wave has won all but one American Conference game at home since November of 2022. Shapes up like a good game for the Wave, but let's see how they come off their bye.
Don't sleep on East Carolina, okay? They got a really good quarterback, and they got a really good offense, okay? And so, again, Summerall talked about it this week, again, and maybe trying to fire his team up, maybe trying to make his team not maybe overlook East Carolina. Don't overlook East Carolina because, again, they could come into Yulman and beat Tulane. But I will say this. This is such a huge game for Tulane.
It really is.
A lot of people, again, on the national level, just basically, again, after the Ole Miss loss, have really dismissed Tulane as an opportunity to get into the college football playoffs, will, again, represent the group of 5. They are on national TV on Thursday. Sports Center is on campus, okay? This is an incredible opportunity for Tulane to get back on in the front and center in the psyche of, again, those that are voting, those that are making the decisions in terms of college football playoff. This is a huge game for Tulane to really kind of erase what a lot of people saw against Ole Miss. And so, again, not only do they have to obviously, again, run the table in the American, which we all know to qualify for the college football playoff. Again, the margin for error is very, very small. But, again, when you have opportunities like this where you're on national television, okay, and the spotlight is on you on a Thursday night, you got to show up. The fans got to show up. The team's got to show up because this is a big game to kind of change a lot of minds about Tulane.
Yeah, they need another atmosphere like they had against Duke a few weeks ago because that was a fantastic atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they can do it again against East Carolina. And again, it's sort of like a mini bye week. Again, after this one's over, they'll have 9 more days off before play a Saturday morning game against Army on October the 18th. before then they actually get another bye week and go to San Antonio. They play Texas San Antonio on October 30th. So the green wave in a stretch of, look, if you can get these 2 games and then it gets real because you play at Memphis on November the 7th, which is a Friday, I believe. Yep. So that UTSA game, by the way, is on a Thursday. So Tulane's got an interesting stretch of 2 byes in the course of 3 weeks and the Thursday game in between. So it's kind of a weird time for them.
And look, needed and necessary, right? Because one of the things Summerall talked about was he had a tired team against Ole Miss after, again, a tough stretch to open up the season. So now he's got a bye week. He's had a chance to heal up. He's had a chance to get some rest now. Again, you should be energized going into the second half of the second half of the American Conference schedule. And again, as you mentioned, the schedule, it kind of lightens up for them in terms of, again, the ability to get guys healed up for the next game. So I like the way the schedule sets up, even though it's kind of quirky where you're playing on Thursdays and Fridays, but it could be their advantage.
Last question before I let you go. I'll do it with LSU because it's a comment that I actually want to show. Hector Garcia says, Brian Kelly, in my opinion, is overrated. I think he loses another game or 2. He is gone after the season. I don't see, unless it's just absolutely, unless they lose like 3 or 4 games, I don't see a scenario that Brian Kelly's going on.
There are 51.7 million reasons why Brian Kelly's going to know.
Yeah.
Not happening.
And
the buyout is too large.
Yeah, they're just not going to do it. I mean, again, unless it's a complete and utter collapse, which is possible. I mean, it's possible they have a complete and utter collapse, and then they'll find the money and find a way. I just don't see any way that.
But again, a lot of these guys that put up $20 million, okay, all these donors put up $20 million for NIL this year. Again, a lot of them have buyer's remorse right now, okay? Now, again, will that buyer's remorse be so much that they feel like, you know what, we're putting up the $51 million to get him out of here? Maybe so. But again, he was smart. He saw 2 national championship winning coaches that got the axe. So when he left Notre Dame, he set up his contract that would be very difficult for LSU to get rid of him. And if you look at the buyout, again, how it descends year to year, it is a slow descent, and everything is in the favor of Brian Kelly. So again, they're going to have to implode for again donors to come up with 51.7 million.
Yeah, I mean, and the fans will be screaming, but it is what it is. It's funny because, you know, they were fine. Everything was okay. Even though LSU wasn't playing that great, the fans were okay. And as soon as you lose the game, Eric, the chirpy chirp come out. I mean, come on, man. You can't.
Yeah, but it's how they lost the game as well. I mean, come on. Ole Miss beats them with a 3-man front. You got a Heisman candidate quarterback that can't complete a pass over 20 yards. You don't have a running game.
With you.
And again, you got a championship defense that by the end of the game, again, they could barely walk, much less run.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. One Smoke says, here, I got some news for you, One Smoke. He says Joe Sloan's going to be going. BK saying, I think both coordinators are going. Joe Sloan's going to be gone because he's terrible, and Blake Baker is going to be gone because somebody wants him to be there as their head coach.
Well, so. I will say this right now. Look, if John Summerall moves on to a bigger program, Blake Baker's the next coach of Tulane.
I think that's a very strong possibility, and I think that would be a fantastic coach for Tulane. I think.
I do agree with you. Somebody's coming to scoop him up as a head coach in this offseason.
Well, tell everybody, Eric, how they can find you, where they can find you, when they can. You're all over the place.
I'm actually behind this brick wall, but that's 4 to 6 weekdays.
There you go.
4 to 6 weekdays, 106.7 The Ticket. Listen live at ericasher.com. We got an app, 106.7 The Ticket app. You can listen there as well. You catch me on TV again Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's on WLATV, WLATV2, and also Pelican Sports Network. Again, Inside New Orleans Sports. You can also catch it on all my social media platforms. Again, on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, you name it, I'm on it.
I'm going to say this about Eric, too, while he's still here. And I go on his show, by the way. I said this earlier. If you missed it, I am on Eric's radio show every Monday at 4:35. And we have a nice little banter back and forth for 20 minutes. That's a lot of fun. And I'm on his TV show about once every 6 weeks or so. But I'll say this, Eric, no one in the city of New Orleans promotes their guest and promotes people who in this business, in this city, better than Eric Asher, and that is an absolute fact. And I appreciate everything you do in trying to help my career and having me on as much as you do. And you'll always be a friend of the show, and you're welcome anytime you want to come on.
Thank you so much. Let me just first of all just say this: I think that when you do what we do, Okay. And then we have this outlet of social media now. For an individual like me, who again has the time, is given the time by guests, okay, that people come on my show constantly, right? Again, whether it's a setup where, again, like you and I doing 4:35 on a Monday, it is. I think again, everyone should be sharing what the content those individuals are involved in. Again, because look, you do a fantastic job. I love having you on my radio show and a TV show, and I think more people need to find out about, again, what you do on a daily basis. And so that's one of the reasons why, again, anybody that comes on my show, I'm sharing their work.
Well, we all have colleagues in this business. We all, we talk to one another. We know each other a little bit, but we don't all have a bunch of friends in this business, and you are certainly a friend in this business, and I appreciate you for that. And I will talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Right back at you. Guys, thanks so much. Thanks for having me on the show, and really enjoyed, again, interacting with your audience. What a great audience you have.
Just don't hit your head against that brick wall when you're getting it.
And again.
See you later. As he says, there he goes. Eric Asher. We appreciate him on the Dattitude podcast, having some fun here on this Wednesday morning. Lots of things to talk about today. Again, probably going to go back to the Saints just a little bit, very briefly. If anything else, just to tell you, if you haven't already done so, to please subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube channel. It's funny. We have some great weeks. I don't know if it's people don't. It's every week is different. The one thing about this business, and Eric talks about how we promote each other. Every week it's like a roller coaster. There are weeks where, okay, there's going to be tons of new subscribers this week, and then they're on. And then there are times when you're like, okay, nobody's listening to that crap. And then it's one of the most listened shows, and you get all kinds of subscribers. So you never know. You never know what people are going to like, but it seems like they always like Eric. We always have fun when Eric comes on the show. That's for you, for sure. It's like Who Dat Daddy says, thank you, Mr. Asher. See you soon. He will certainly be back soon. Eric brings it. Again, I didn't realize it was that long since he had been on. Brian, hit that like button. Yeah, absolutely, babe. Hit the like button. All right, Chad. It's like starting a rat banging your head against the brick wall. No. Can't. The kids earned it. You can't take, look, as long as if they win this week, it's going to play again against Chicago. And then if he wins this week, I think win or lose. You know what? I think win or lose is probably going to play at Chicago. I don't know when you're going to see Shuck. I know you're going to see Shuck at some point because this franchise has to. But the kid is not playing poorly. Playing way better. I'm going to give him credit, and I don't mean this to say he's not playing well. I think he's playing way better than even the Rat Lovers. Well, I don't know, maybe not that. The Rat Lovers think he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. There are actually people who think he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes out there, but he's played much better than I expected. He's played much better than I thought he could play. So I'm not going to take anything away from Spencer Rattler, nor should anyone else. That's my opinion. Gabe coming on in just a minute. Again, we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football, and I'm sure. Breaking news this morning. We talked about Joe Flacco. Probably we'll talk about him again. Joe Flacco is getting the start for the Cincinnati Bengals this week. I don't even remember who they play. Gabe, you can tell me in a minute. I don't know the answer to that, but when you come on in a minute, you can tell me. First, we told you earlier we were letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. And I told you about, you can't wait to hear about Evangeline because you know why it's important, but you're going to say it along with me in just a minute. How does Evangeline do it? Well, thank you for asking. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians, Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline Securities, they will begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from, you guessed it, around the whole wide world. They will maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on that platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, zero, however you want to say it, none. Go ahead, try to find somebody. You can't do it. None with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. It's not about Joe Flacco starting for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not about who's going to be the offensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers next year, although that is pretty important. What's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Time to move on. You know who's coming on the show. It's that time. It's Wednesday. It's 12:20 or 12:21 p.m. It's Gabe Henderson. What's happening, my friend?
It is Joe Flacco plays the Packers on Sunday. So he has already beaten the season, and if he does that, I believe he will become the first quarterback to beat the same team twice with two different teams in a season since like the late 70s.
What? I wonder who did it.
Well, you don't see many starting quarterbacks trade teams midseason.
That's true.
And then
I wonder who would have done it in the late 70s.
I have the answer. Hold on.
I mean, you're not going to know who it is, but I probably know who it is.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, who played for two different teams?
So, according to Andrew Siciliano, if Joe Flacco leads the Bengals to a win over the Packers Sunday, he'll become the first NFL quarterback to beat a team twice in the same season with different teams. Since 1962.
Oh, Jesus.
Jack Kemp led the Chargers and Bills to win.
Jack Kemp, the former, was he a congressman or a senator? Can't remember if he was a U.S. congressman or a senator. He was a presidential candidate the year that I think Bob Dole won the nomination. Actually, he was presidential candidate more than once. Not that we're going to get into politics on the show, but he was. Jack Kemp was quarterback of the Buffalo Bills for quite a few years. Who did he go from the Bills to who? Bills and who else?
The tweet again.
Oh, sorry. See, live TV, baby. I like to ask you these questions and make you go back and look.
He beat he played for the Chargers and Bills.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Chargers.
Titans.
Okay. Beat the Titans. The Titans. Who are the Titans? I'm trying to think of the Titans were in the AFL. I don't even remember. Anyway.
In parentheses it says Jets.
Dallas? So. The New York. That's right. Before they were the Jets, they were the Titans. I forgot all about that. Anyway. Charles says, good morning. Who dat daddy is here? Chad Gager's guessing Philly. No. Mark is, Tulane tomorrow night. They are playing at Yulman Stadium, East Carolina. That game is on ESPN. All right. What are we going to talk about this morning? Whatever you want before we make our TNF pick.
Well, we can briefly talk about Jonathan Gannon.
All right. I knew that. I was going to let you do it. Jonathan Gannon, in case you missed it, earlier this morning, I went on about a 90-second rant. I know it's hard to believe that I went on a rant, but I did. I went on a rant about Jonathan Gannon getting $100,000 fine, which I guess in the grand scheme of things, for a coach, it's a little bit more. I mean, what does he make? Like $3-4 million a year?
So here's the thing.
Wait, what does he make? Do you know how much he makes?
No, but I'll look it up.
So it's a little bit. I mean, that's a significant fine for someone who makes $3 or $4 million a year. I'm guessing
makes between $3 and $5 million a year.
Damn it, I'm good. So that's significant. I mean, you take $100,000, that would be the same as taking $10,000 from someone who makes $300,000 a year. That's significant. Okay.
With any other organization, I would say that they would just eat the fine, but Arizona's ownership is just terrible.
Bidwell's. Yeah,
I don't know who it is.
It's the Bidwells. They're not eating anything.
No, Big Belly, you're completely wrong. You are completely and utterly wrong.
See, it's gonna be Gabe that gets pissed off this morning. I'm tired of being the one that gets pissed off. It's time for you to get pissed off. Gannon did nothing wrong. Coaches used to get in our face and slap our pads all the time. If we messed up.
Not what
I'm with you, Big Belly.
That's not what he did. He threw 2 punches at DeMarcado.
Did he land a punch?
He threw 2 punches.
He hit him in the face?
No, not in the face. I believe he hit him in the shoulder or something. I don't.
You mean with his shoulder pads on? Who gives a damn?
Jim, do you know what's happened to every other professional coach ever who has punched a player?
Woody Hayes. Here comes Woody Hayes. He punched a dude in the face and an opposing player. What a dumbass.
You still, as a coach, you have to be held to a higher standard.
He hit him in the shoulder pads with a big whoop.
If you are a coach, you cannot punch a player. It's not about the game getting soft. It's about
No, it's not about the game. You know what it is?
Authority figure.
And again, this is a sports show.
You want to talk about a more ridiculous fine? Jerry Jones got fined $250K
Yeah, that's absurd.
for flipping off
100%. Yeah, but $250K for Jerry Jones is like $2. Is like lunch for me and you.
That's crazy.
But I 100% agree.
Jonathan Gannon isn't getting fired or isn't getting fined for getting in a dude's face for yelling at him because everyone's been inside a football locker room before and they see that at the high school level.
You know what's soft?
The NFL.
You know what's soft?
You cannot put your hands
in an aggressive way on a
player.
What's soft is your generation. That's what's soft.
Really?
Your generation is soft.
Because they're not firing Jonathan Gannon. Every other coach who's done that has gotten fired.
For punching someone. I want you to go out and find someone who punched a player in the shoulder pads. I want you to go out and find some player that got punched in the shoulder pads.
Who have done it in the
shoulder pads?
Years.
This ain't the NHL, pal. This is football. Come on.
Most people don't do it because they're not that stupid. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not saying Jonathan. Jonathan Gannon's probably going to get fired, but that's for a different reason.
You
can't lose to the Titans at home.
My favorite thing is when NFL players or college players will throw a punch at an opposing player and they're still wearing a helmet.
Yeah, you should get fired for being stupid.
One of my favorite things.
If you do that, that means you're really dumb.
If you're going to do it with authority like Andre Johnson did. Rip off the helmet and then take some headshots.
UBN SOFT soft. I'm just saying.
Call it soft. You cannot have an authority figure that is a coach throw a punch at a player. You just can't do that.
You hurt my feelings. Put your big boy pants on. You hurt my feelings. You punched me in my shoulder pad.
Woody Hayes did it in 1978 and he got fired.
You punched me in the shoulder pad.
Can't punch a player. You've never been able to punch a player.
I mean, he's an idiot. He tried to celebrate before he go in the end zone.
I think he was in.
UBN says he slapped him in the shoulder pads. All right, that's a little much. You're not kicking him in the ding ding.
You can't hit him maliciously. You just can't do it. Right. You have to hold yourself accountable into a higher standard.
JC, it is good morning in Denver. It's 75 degrees and sunny. It is, from what I hear, the last, and y'all might have had the front already go through in Houston. I don't know. But supposedly the last hot day in New Orleans before we get.
No, it's still hot. It's
still nasty.
Okay.
It's supposed to be nice tomorrow.
90s all week.
Really? It's supposed to be nice here the rest of the weekend.
Touching 89, 90 all week.
Ooh. Yeah, well, it's going to get better here. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah, that Jody. Wait, hold on. Wrong one. Jody, you are 100% right. Jim Mora. I forgot about this. Thank you, Jody. Jody Alexander, Jim Mora, and Jack Kepler were college roommates at Occidental College. You are absolutely correct. I forgot all about that. And Jim Mora was 90 years old. I have thought about this yesterday. I don't know why his name pops in my head a lot, but got to get Jim. Maybe we can get Jim Mora on the show soon on a Wednesday. Would love to do that. What else you got?
David Nola, it's been like that for 5 decades.
All right, come on. We're moving on now. What else you got before we move on to TNF?
This is kind of on the same level. I agree that people are soft for saying that Brian Kelly. Like, you remember when Brian Kelly yelled at Chris Hilton last year on the sideline?
Absolutely.
People were like, "Oh my God, that's horrible." That's not bad at all. That's just football. Anyone who's ever been inside a locker room knows that's football.
I mean, come on.
It's a tough coach.
Hilton deserved it. He kind of deserves it again.
He'd be the first to tell you.
I mean, Hilton's been kind of like all over the place this year. He's been like very disappointing. Very disappointing.
He hasn't got many targets.
We'll talk.
Receivers are getting open. Nussmeier's just not getting them the football.
I don't disagree with you. All right, Carolina 8.5. Don't give me your pick yet because we're going to do that Friday. We'll do our pick them. But I mean, what are you thinking this week? You think they come off the bye week a little bit better? You think they've learned their lesson?
I would not. I think this is a fair spread. I wouldn't touch this spread with your money. I can't.
Or my
stick. I need to know what Nussmeier's health situation is. You're just not going to know.
No, I agree. All right. Again,
I will say, so when I wasn't here, and I commented this, you said that I was calling for Nussmeier to be benched, which is not true. I'm not calling for him to. I'm calling for him to be benched if he isn't healthy. That's the thing. I've never been a huge Nussmeier fan. We all know that. I think if he's not healthy, Michael Van Buren gives you a better chance to win. And with the caveat, if he's not healthy.
Here's why I could never go to lunch with you and UBN, because I'd be sitting there eating my sandwich, listening to y'all bitch about Garrett Nussmeier for 45 minutes, and it would just drive me nuts.
I have not bitched about him all season until he started with the injury stuff. I gave him props against Clemson. I said he was good, but the decisions he made against Ole Miss and the way that he played, he just didn't look right. And as someone said earlier, the decisions that he was making looked like a first-year player.
Yeah. All right, we're running long. We are past my own self-allotted time. Not in the podcast where you can do whatever you want. You can go 90 minutes. You can go 94.6 minutes. You do whatever the hell you want. But my self-imposed limit is 90 minutes, and I'm never good at sticking to it. So we're going to move on to our Thursday night football prediction, which we do every Wednesday because we don't have a show on Thursday. So we do that. Before, real quick, JC asking me, when is Mike Detillier coming back on the show? Soon, I hope. I hope soon. I haven't asked him in a bit. Look, there are certain guests, not really all guests now. I mean, that's where we are now. We have a nice rotation, and I don't want to ask people too much because I don't want it to be a task or a chore. I want them to want to come on the show. So I like to ask people about once every 2 months now. That's where we are, except for our regulars, and you know who they are by now. All right, Thursday night football. Gabe, I don't think I have a best bet, but I am definitely leaning one way. NFC East clash on Thursday night. You look at this on paper and you say, oh, my God, Philly's going to beat the ever-loving snot out of them because they're Philly and the Giants just lost to the Saints. It's a short week, and lots of weird things happen on Thursday night. We saw that last week. The Niners just completely decimated going on the road against a really good Rams team and beating the Rams. What say you? The Eagles are 7-point favorites on the road at the New York Giants. And for those of you not watching the podcast, Gabe just made a face as if he ate beets or asparagus.
Kind of with the public on this one. At some books, this line has already moved to 7.5.
Yep.
And I want to agree with everything you just said. I want to say that this is a road divisional game for Philly. It's a short week. Weird things happen on Thursday night. But the Giants are so banged up. Tyrone Tracy's going to play. Darius Slayton's out. Their number one receiver now is Wan'Dale Robinson. Philly's pissed off after a loss.
Yeah,
I like Philly. This is a good get-back spot for Philly.
David +1 says Saquon gets his 100-yard rushing game. Oh, here's my thing here.
Saquon's not been very good this year.
If it gets to 7.5, it will be a best bet for me. 100% will be. If it gets to 7.5 at DraftKings, I will make it a best bet, and I will make a short out of it and put it on. I haven't had one in a few weeks because, honestly, I haven't had one that I've liked enough to make a best bet, and we're still undefeated. We're 4-0 with our best bets that we put in the shorts. And I've got to say, first off, I almost always, except in rare cases, I am going to take, if there is a division dog, if there's a dog at home in a division game, way more times than not, I'm going to take the dog. And here I like the dog. I like it at 7. I love it at 7.5. And again, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think Philly's as good as everybody thinks they are. The Saquon thing, the boost against the Eagles, that's gone now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, last year he played well against the Eagles, and he had a lot of momentum, and against the Giants, he had a lot of momentum and a lot of reasons to do it. I just don't think I think the Giants on a short week, it's easier to forget crap that happened the week before when you play on a short week, and the same goes the other way. Your pissed offness, I guess, it doesn't work the same on a short week. You don't have time to think about all that. You just play football, and so
anyway. I wouldn't make a best bet out of this game. I just like Philly. I really don't think this Giants offense is going to do much of anything. If you want to avoid playing the spread, I like the under, even though
I like the under too.
Philly's offense has been better than advertised. I just don't see how New York scores many points.
Yeah, I like the under as well.
The Saints. The Philly's got a much better defense than the Saints.
Yeah.
And
I can see
believe
that.
they get Nakobe Dean back this week.
That's a little too low. It's at 40.5 for those of you who are listening to the podcast. I know the over-under is 40.5. It's probably a little too low to make a best bet out of it. But so again, Gabe, it leans Giants, but not enough to play it. I'm sorry, leans Eagles. I not only lean, I will play the Giants one way or the other, but I'll make it a best bet if it gets to 7.5. I like it at +7. I love it at +7.5. So those are our official picks. We'll see what happens tomorrow when we get up and look at the spreads. Speaking of seeing you, I will see you on Friday as the Pick'em crew gets back together again on Friday. And I know there's one person in particular who can't wait to get back together. He just disappeared. Oh, I can't make the show. My computer's screwed up when he has like a -192. But when he has a good week, oh, I'll be there. I can't wait. I'll be there with bells on. Whoop-de-doo. I'm just saying. Right? I mean, it's a fact.
I'll be here
right?
regardless, and I've just got to cross my fingers and hope that my luck turns around because I've had some brutal beats over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Come on. Don't make me wow you.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I've got to hope. As you said, I believe, I don't know if you said it on the show or in a text, you never dwell on brutal beats considering that your luck will turn around.
That was in a text.
I have not gotten lucky that way.
So over the course of a season, I think not always, for the most part, they even out in the end. Not always. If you've been lucky, usually by the end of the season, you get some bad luck and then you bitch about it. And conversely, you bitch about it early in the season, you got some bad luck and you don't say, ooh, I got luck in there. I'm not saying you. I mean, when I say I mean the proverbial you.
I get it.
What I mean? So anyway, I'll see you on Friday.
Sounds good.
All right. Having some fun. Hey, my skin color didn't change. He didn't piss me off this show. I think I kind of pissed him off. I'm just saying his generation's soft. It is what it is. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. What do we think about this New Orleans Saints? We have our final predictions coming up on our next live show. Again, which we told you. You can see on the screen if you're watching. Friday, October the 10th. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time, unless there's a weird schedule. And the Saints don't have any Thursday or Monday games this year. So we don't have to make weird schedules. Last year, we had it quite a bit. This year, no. The only weird schedule we will have is I went and looked. I actually have quite a few days off in my queue that I've got to take or I lose. I can carry over a week, not to get into the weeds on what happens, but I can carry over a week. Anything more than that, I lose. So I definitely have to take 5 or 6 more days this year. We'll do. Chad wants to know if Gabe and I will ever do a full show. Yeah, I'm sure we will. And especially like on a Wednesday, if I'm supposed to have a guest and a guest bails, then Gabe's going to be, I think have we done that before? Yeah, we've done that before. We were supposed to have a guest one Wednesday and it didn't happen. So Gabe ended up coming on the show and he was on for quite a while. I don't remember when that was, but I know we've done it. But yeah, we do different things in the show. Friday is the Pick'em crew. We have, look, I really enjoy Friday. Don't get me wrong. Monday, that's when we talk to each other. You talk, I talk back. Wednesday is always guest day. I really am going to try to get Jim Moore soon. I'm working on some other big guests too. I'm just going to say the Pelicans are starting soon. Would love to get we need to do a Pelican show soon. Maybe not next week, but very soon. Maybe in 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. Not a full Pelican show, but we need to spend some time talking about the Pelicans, and we will. But Fridays are my favorite. Fridays when we get together and we just have fun. Zach Ewing will be back from Detroit, where he's watching the Mariners and the Tigers. His Mariners are 1 win away from taking that series. He's hoping they don't have to go back to Seattle to win it. But he will be back here on Friday as we do our Saints previews. We will give our predicted score for Saints, LSU, and Tulane. And then Gabe, UBN, and I will have our best bets of the week. We'll show the standings and show you who the turkey is, who's the ice cold picker of the week, who's the hot fire picker of the week. I don't know. I honestly don't know who the turkey is. It might be me, but I guarantee you I ain't on fire. I haven't done the standings yet. We'll see. Anyway, that is when we will have our next fun Who Dat Daddy wants to know before we go up the air? Does anyone know how Jim Henderson is doing? Last I heard, Who Dat Daddy's still plugging along. I think he's getting a little better. He wasn't able to walk for a while, as you remember on show 400. He's having all sorts of issues. Yeah. Chad says for him, the NBA doesn't start until after the Super Bowl. I understand. I gotcha. Rob says we should do it during the bye week. Now, the bye week is when I take some time off. I could tell you the bye week, I will take some time off that bye week. We won't have a Monday show, and we probably won't have a Wednesday show either. So I'm going to take some time off during the bye week. I can tell you that. That's my heads up to you. We'll have a Friday show. So we got to do our pick 'em. But that's coming up. We got about 5-6 weeks before we get to that? Something like that. 5 or 6 weeks. I don't remember exactly. I forget. Doesn't matter. But I do know this. It's going to wrap it up for us on this Wednesday. I want to thank today's guest, Eric Asher. We hope you can join us next Friday when we welcome in, of course, Damon Singleton will be here with the weather. All of our teams are at home. We won't have to talk about Tulane because they will have already played. So we'll give you the weather for what it's going to be like around the Dome on Sunday. Spoiler alert, it's going to be pretty nice. What's it going to be like in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night? Well, they say it never rains in Tiger Stadium. I don't know who they is, but that's what they say. We'll see what Damon Singleton says. And again, the pickup crew, Zach Ewing, UBN, Gabe Henderson, and myself, all going to be here Friday making our picks. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page if you haven't already done so. Click the little bell, ding, 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 ding. To find out when we go on the air live and to know when I'm posting my shorts and my best bets, my official best bets. Might have one tomorrow. We'll see. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. You can also find a replay of the show, where, on NOLA.com/sports. You can find me on bet.NOLA.com. You can find our Saints insiders who also have a show this afternoon. You can find them on NOLA.com/Saints. You can find their show. Just type in Saints, search for Saints Insiders. Subscribe to them as well. Again, they got a show coming on this afternoon, I think at 3:00. And that's it. That's it. You know what that means? It means we will see you on Friday. And it also means that I ask you very kindly to take it easy, my friends.